my channel, everybody. It is a new week. Unfortunately, this video took so long to edit that it's not that I forgot to make one for you guys or that I just put it off. It's that it took 2 weeks to actually edit this video. I thought it came out pretty good. I love the Burgers and Boys t-shirt. That is my absolute favorite. That's kind of what the inspiration was for this video, because I had been scrolling through my feed and I'd seen a couple of these fashion t-shirts on Instagram, and I really wanted to recreate them for, instead of paying $60 for a t-shirt or even $30, you could pay $10 to make them yourself. And it's actually pretty cool, and if you want to do it with your friends, it's also a really interactive, fun activity. But that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Watch away.
So first we're going to start off with the Burgers and Boys t-shirt. For this, you're going to need a white t-shirt, some red matte paint. So I'm going to put the paint, a small paintbrush, Sharpie, and a scissor. So first, you see where that little black dot is? That's where I put the shirt on to see where it's, reasonable enough for a crop top. Then I'm just going to draw a straight line across. Then you're just going to cut along the dotted line. Now I'm just going to mark about 1 inch from the collar, and this is where your sleeve is going to end. Then, you know that weird bugle horn shape? That's kind of what I did on the one side, and then I'm just going to repeat it on the other. It obviously didn't come out as good, so then I just went back in and redid that line. So for the muscle tank, I find that it's easier if you just cut from the bottom and then from the top. It looks a lot neater and a lot less jagged, and then I just do the same on both sides. Then, just because I made the Sharpie marks a little too close, I'm going over with a little bit of white fabric paint. Then, just to make sure they're even, I fold them over each other, which, spoiler alert, they were not, so then I just cut along there to make both sides even. So based off the picture that I was using, I just blew up that picture on my computer and I printed it out, and then I cut out the letters. So I'm going to get the exact same font, but for cheap. And so I lay it out the way I want it to look and how it looked in the picture. Next, I'm just going to take a bit of that red matte paint and outline my fake stencils. This doesn't have to be neat or anything, but you want to make sure that you really do get those little details on the corner. The actual lettering itself is supposed to be kind of messy in that rustic look. So again, you really don't have to be too careful with this. And then I'm just going to pull off our fake stencils. And we have our outlines. And then, of course, I'm just going to go inside because I didn't want to cut out the letters. It was super annoying, so I'm just doing it by hand and making those little bubbles. So for filling in the letters, I kind of did the bottom differently than I did the top. When I got to the top, what I like to do is make lines and then take the leftover paint and kind of blur them out. It worked really well, and it ended up looking a lot nicer on top than it did on the bottom, actually. And now we're moving on to the Rolling Stones t-shirt, people. For this, you're going to need a black t-shirt, white, red, black matte paint, paint brushes, and somewhere to put the paint. I'm using, again, something I printed out offline. I just cut out the inside, the white part, so this way I can use it as an outline again. And then, you don't do this, even though I did this. I accidentally bought pearlized red paint, which means it's basically just a bunch of glitter. So I just use that for an outline because I'm going over with the red matte paint later. When you do the inside, make sure to be a little bit thinner with the brush just because you don't want it to be a super thick line. So you don't have to correct it so much later. And then I just peel that off. And then I'm just going to fill in with that small brush and the pearlized paint all of the red areas of the lips. As you can see, my phone's right there because I'm just looking at it on what to fill in. Like I said, you use red paint, I'm using this right now, and as you'll see, voila! I found the red matte paint, and then I went over with a thicker brush because I already did all the detailing and filled it in. Now, something I didn't really show on camera is that I actually made the lips longer at the top and then the bottom of the tongue, just because it looked a little small. And after the second coat of red paint, I'm just going to go in with that thin brush again and do the white detailing based off the picture, which is the top of the lips, on the tongue, and kind of make it a little nice on the edges. And then, again, I'm just looking at the picture doing it freehand. If you want, you could do the cutout of the picture and make the teeth. What you guys see me doing here is I'm just going and evening out those edges with the white paint so it doesn't look like I painted this, even though I did, and then I just did a second coat. Now, based off the picture of the t-shirt I was looking at on Revolve Clothing, I am copying the same writing. It's always different for every t-shirt, but I just did Rolling Stones 89. You can do Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones, doesn't really matter, whatever you feel like, you know? And you've now just completed the second t-shirt. For the third shirt, distressed t-shirts have been very, very in recently. This one you're going to need a soft t-shirt, a scissor, nail clippers, nail file, tweezers, and no, you're not doing your nails. They are necessary though for this. So first, I'm just going to make a cutout in the back of a triangle. So mine ended up being a lot bigger than I expected it to. So for yours, I would say make a smaller triangle than this for the cutout on the back, unless you want it to be a completely backless t-shirt. Afterwards, I'm just going to cut out this outline I made. Don't worry about straight edges because we're actually going to take some fabric glue and glue it so it mimics a seam. Then I'm just going to take my scissors and make two little slits in all the edges so this way we can glue them down and it doesn't look weird. Now, I just did a dotting method and then I kind of folded it over on itself and pinched it so it dried that way. Then just repeat it on the other side. Make sure the glue is spread evenly, otherwise it's going to look weird when it dries. Now I'm just going to glue the tag first, and then I'm also going to glue it and fold it over itself like I did on the two sides. I just used a paperweight to hold it down because the tag was very thick. Then again, same thing, the pinching method on the top of the t-shirt as well. And then just do the corners so this way you have that sharp V that you're looking for. Now there are a few methods to making the distress part of the t-shirt. I used a tweezer at one point just to keep pulling the fabric until it makes a hole. You could also use the nail clippers, which makes a tiny hole, and then poke your finger through it, which makes it more visible, obviously. And then you can also use a tweezer on that too, because it just pulls out a couple of the seams and makes it look, again, that's a stressed vibe we're going for. If you want to be extra, you could always take the nail file to add more texture as well. Now don't forget to do the sleeves and the bottom of the shirt with the tweezer and just then pull a bunch of that fabric because we don't want it to be nice looking, we want it to be distressed. And the third shirt is complete. The fourth shirt isn't super popular, but I googled fashion t-shirts and it came up. You're going to need a white t-shirt, fabric glue, fabric paint, somewhere to put the paint, a Sharpie, scissor, and a small brush. The first thing you're going to want to do is stretch out the neck. Now, the same thing with the other shirt. This one's a little bit more cropped, but I put it on and found a reasonable crop top length for me. And then I'm just creating a line and then cutting it. Now I'm just going to fold over the sleeves and run a little bit of fabric glue along them so it gives it a cuffed edge. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other, well, the opposite side of the sleeve. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other sleeve. Again, make sure the glue is even. Taking my makeshift stencils, I'm just going to mark where the middle of the eyelashes are. This way, when I elongate them later, I know to make it even on both sides. Same thing with the other eyelash. Just because, again, my stencils were really small, then I'm just going to, like I said, extend them now. Then with the pink paint, because I don't want to go over it with Sharpie, I am going to extend the lips about the same size as the eyelashes because everything needs to be even. Just as the stencil had, we are going to create the lips with an open mouth. So I just made a little rounded triangle in the middle, nothing fancy. And then I'm just going to take whatever paint is left on the brush and go from the outline in so it creates again that faded effect because I don't want the lips to be completely filled in. Next, I am just going to kind of reline the eyelashes. Then again, taking whatever is left on the brush, and then I kind of dip back in again and go over it. I'm just flicking the brush out from the line to create those eyelashes. Again, you don't have to be too careful with this. Everyone's fake eyelashes are going to look different, but I just focused on the lash band, or what normally would be the lash band, and then I flicked out a couple lashes longer and different lengths to make it look more realistic. Or, again, you could just put the picture in front and try and copy off of that. I thought it was just a little bit easier to do what I was doing. And then the fourth t-shirt is done. Moving on to the fifth and final t-shirt. For this, you'll need a gray t-shirt, fabric glue, a Sharpie, somewhere to put paint, black matte paint, a paintbrush, and some scissors. So I started off by cutting off just the bottom of the t-shirt so it's not very long. Then I just cut off the sleeves, nothing crazy here, just right above the sleeve, right below the sleeve, and same thing on the other side. I just usually take the sleeve and flip it over so this way it's easy to just recreate the same exact thing. Same as the previous t-shirt, you're just going to stretch out the collar. Then again, I just blew up the picture of the shirt I was using for inspiration. Although mine was too big, I kept overestimating how big it was supposed to be. So for your heart, I would recommend making it a little smaller because again, it was completely backless. Because I was even lazier for the last t-shirt, I just cut out each line of words, and then what I would do is I just underlined basically the edges. So underneath, and then on top with a Sharpie, and then I just would connect the dots. Again, if you aren't as comfortable doing this freehand, you could just put the lettering right above it so it's easier to copy. And then I just did the same thing for this line, although I can't spell and I wasn't paying attention, so I did circumstances. So if you notice that weird M, that's why it looks like that. So then after finishing the lettering, all you're going to do is fill all of the letters in with black paint. And as you can see, the M looks weird as it just looks so strange. So I had to make little lines on other letters to kind of even it out. So the original font doesn't look like this, but this was my own mess up that I had to fix. I honestly personally think it looks pretty cool, so I don't mind. Although one thing I did notice as I was painting these in, just make sure that the lines or the edges are straight so this way it doesn't look like it was painted on. And then you're done with the 5th shirt.
So thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make, although it was a lot of editing and grueling editing. And other than that, comment if you want any specific videos in the future, and let me know if you like this video by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have nothing to do and you want to follow and get some cool artsy pictures, follow my Instagram at OnceUponATutorial. And I'll see you guys soon later this week because unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get to post last week, so I'm posting twice this week. And with that, I'm gonna go. Bye!